So going across the internet, and I don't listen to Colin Cowherd a lot. I rarely listen to it. I don't think I've ever like tuned into a show from the beginning, was like, Colin's on, let me listen to Colin. You know, most of the time I hear something he says is it's some clip or some short that's on YouTube or some other social media. But I ran across this one, and I mean, I knew he was a LeBron guy, but golly, this stuff this man said. I remember the last time I did a video involved with Colin Cowherd, it was him trying to make Michael Jordan seem less of a GOAT based on what he did as a GM for the Wizards and as an owner for the Hornets. Like this was seriously what he was doing, and he's not a serious guy anymore. I don't think, man. He's not been serious for a long time. I think he has a formula. He knows what probably would get clicks. I don't know what the allegiance started with him and Clutch Sports and LeBron. Man, but he said some things, boy. I'm gonna play for you what he said. This is crazy. And then I'll come back with my comments here.
But I think the longevity that LeBron's had, the greatness, the level he's played at is almost like it's never been done in the history of basketball. Jabbar was not this dominant.
No, Michael in Washington was not nearly a vertical player.
He was an average all-star, like 20 points a game. You know, they couldn't sniff the playoffs.
And nobody liked him on the team. Like that team was awful. He was selling tickets. I watched him twice. It was fun, but he wasn't the same Michael. There was no hanging, switching hands midair. Like those days, Michael was out. You know, Michael liked to have a good time. Michael gambled a few times, been out
a few times. Yeah.
He was not the same player at that age.
Yeah, his peak where they won 6 titles against a diminished NBA. Sure, that was awesome. Better than LeBron. But LeBron's career, it's not even close.
No.
Did you see this stat? I think Sam Amick had it. 25, 7, and 7. That's like consistent greatness, right? Not a lot of people have done it in league history. I think 9. LeBron's about to do it for the 12th time. 12th. Jordan's done it once. 25, 7, and 7 is like, I can do everything. Well, I make my teammates better.
Well, I think that's what is indisputable. Regardless of what you think, there's never been a basketball player ever, and this is indisputable, that does more well. Magic was not an elite defender. Michael wasn't really a distributor or didn't have a ton of range on his jump shot. LeBron has developed a three-point shot. He still beats anybody he wants off the dribble. In his prime, he was a dominant defensive player, shut down Derrick Rose, the MVP. I mean, shut down a smaller, quicker player. And LeBron, the only thing LeBron has never really said, I want to do, and there's a reason for it, is rebound, because LeBron doesn't want to be under the basket. He wants to be, because of his speed and size, he wants you to do that, get it out to me, and I'll start the break.
You know where you get hurt? Banging inside with Jokic and all these big dudes.
That's right.
Who wants to do that? I certainly don't. I know LeBron doesn't want to. Next up.
Oh, man. All right, so they said a whole bunch of stuff. We can try to address all of it. Where do I start? That was Colin Cowherd talking to I forgot the little guy's name, man, but he's a annoying little guy. But oh man, where did we start? All right, let's start with their comparison with LeBron now and Mike with the Wizards, because I think he said, you know, there's been no player in history this late in his career that was this good. And I think that definition of this good might be different from mine, right? Because this is not the best version of LeBron. His best version is long behind him. His best version of himself was probably the Miami years, or immediately after Miami, the Cleveland years. That was probably the best LeBron that we're probably going to see. That LeBron was smart, at the height of his physical peak, you know, on top of the NBA, you know, he had put some things together, you know, he, you know, had a little jump shot, and, you know, he was still playing defense a little bit when he was in Miami. So, you know, that LeBron was probably good. Now this LeBron is obviously older and declining and can't do it consistently enough the way he did it in Miami. So we know this is not the best version of him. And we know that, well, everybody might not believe this, but it is my opinion that LeBron has never reached the greatness of Michael Jordan as a player. I don't think LeBron, his best version, has ever been better than Mike. So Mike's a better player, right? So when we're talking about them at this older age, 39, Mike was still a better player. So when they say that, I mean, because you can't, if I'm a better player than you, especially once we reach our peak, everything after our peak, we sustain our peak for as long as possible, and then we start to decline naturally because our physical attributes decline, right? So we're getting worse. So if the argument they're trying to make is that Mike declined faster than LeBron, and by age 39, Mike physically wasn't as indestructible, or Mike's physical. I mean, because Mike, he was running around at 39 with a bum knee. He was getting iced up before and after every game, during games sometime, and he was getting getting fluid drained out of his knee before every game, or either after every game. I can't remember which one it was, but the knee was really bad, and then it eventually went out on, I think he tore his meniscus, and then he got surgery that summer, and he came back and played this last season at age 40. Right. So if the argument that they're trying to make is that Mike wasn't physically as strong, I don't know. I don't know what the argument is, because as a player, Mike was still better than LeBron. Mike could still shoot better. He still played better defense, right? He still scored better. Like I don't understand what their argument is as a player. But if they're just saying physically LeBron is slowing down at a slower rate than Mike did, Mike at 39 had a bum knee and LeBron is still kicking, okay, I'll take that argument. But that has nothing to do with him as a player. That has nothing to do with say that no one was this good this late. Right? The only difference between them at 39 is that LeBron doesn't have a bum knee and MJ had a bum knee. Now, the argument they tried to make that the Wizards didn't make the playoffs, and if they're trying to say that LeBron, since his team, I mean, because he didn't make the playoffs his first year in LA, and I think he was 34, 35 at that time, right? He won a bubble ring. He made the playoffs again, got a first round exit, and then he made the play in, which in Mike's time that he would have been a non-playoff team. He made a play in and won the games and made the playoffs that way. But that was a non-playoff team as well. But the new rules allow him to be a playoff team because of the play in. And then he missed the playoffs. Did he miss it last? No, he got to the Western Conference Final last year. So he's been hit or miss with making the playoffs while he was in LA and his old age. But this is the big difference that no one's talking about. How can you just can't go and say Mike was 39, MJ was 39, MJ Wizards didn't make the playoffs, but LeBron team did make the playoffs. But when we know that LeBron has Anthony Davis and the slew of other Hall of Famers that he's had come through LA to help him get to the playoffs, Mike didn't have Hall of Famers anywhere on his squad, especially not in his prime, right? So if we was to do a real, parallel of 39-year-old Mike and 39-year-old LeBron, to make it a fair fight and even, you would have to kind of imagine what Mike would have been able to do if he forced and I think Anthony Davis was thought of as the best big man in the league at that time, but I'm not even going to say that. Like, I just take it now. Joker's better, Embiid's better. So let's say the third best big man in the league. If Mike would have forced, if Mike had a sports agency that the third best big man in the league was assigned to, and they convinced him to force a trade from his ball club to come join him with the Wizards, what would that look like? Because the third best big man in the league at that moment, let's say the first was Shaq, let's say the second one was Tim Duncan. The third best big man would have been either Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber, Dirk Nowitzki, Rasheed Wallace. Take your pick. If MJ would have forced a trade for Kevin Garnett to come join him with the Wizards, and then that same year they signed a Hall of Fame center who's in great shape, like Dwight Howard, who would there have been in that league at that time? I don't know who was available. I would have to go down a free agent list or the roster, but to sign a player of Dwight Howard's caliber was huge. To sign another veteran in Rondo was huge. The Wizards didn't do that. Then the next season you bring in Melo. Then the next season you bring in Westbrook. That's a huge difference. So for you to compare, I mean, it's idiotic that people even let them get away with this stuff, and it's idiotic that they get on a national radio station and really try to throw that out there. Like that's not a comparison. Mike at 39, LeBron at 39, but LeBron has a team that he can handpick of stars and all-stars, and Mike was just out there playing with whoever was on the Wizard squad, which was young guys that was still trying to find their way in the league. Ty Lue still didn't know what he was going to be in the league. Rip Hamilton didn't know what he was going to be in the league at that moment. Kwame Brown, Eton Thomas, Brandon Haywood. Like, this is his squad. I just don't understand how you even compare that, but we can do a comparison. I think there's another difference other than the fact that LeBron had superstar talent surrounding him, whether they was in their prime or out of their prime. I mean, we can easily say that Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and Carmelo Anthony and Westbrook are four superstars, first ballot Hall of Famers. Westbrook and Carmelo was past their prime. Dwight was past their prime. So those three was past their prime, but in great shape. Not a past their prime, injured, dragging a leg, knee brace, out of shape. Not that type of past their prime. Past their prime is a lot different than it was back in the day. Past their prime, Melo could still hoop and still start. Same with Westbrook, same with Dwight, right? So he had that. Then he had Anthony Davis in his prime, who was the best big man in the league when he got him, third best currently, right? And he's still in his prime. So that's a luxury to have. But Michael Jordan at 34 won the finals, played 82 games, got MVP, finals MVP, first team all defense, scoring title. I mean, that's him at 34. LeBron at 34 only played 55 games. That's interesting. Then Mike retired. He comes back at 38. This is the year he has the bum knee. He comes back fresh off of retirement. 3 years, haven't played no ball. I mean, I'm pretty sure he playing some pickup somewhere and some golf and all that stuff, but he's not in tip top shape. He just all of a sudden on a whim, man, I don't like the way they're playing. If I'm going to own a team or if I'm going to be part of the organization, I need my players to play with more passion. I'm going to step down out of the front office and I'm going to show them how to play with passion. So that was his motivation to come out of retirement. Not make all these trades and get me this superstar, get me that superstar, and let's try to make a run. I just want to show them how to play with passion. So he comes out and he probably to be 38 and just jump off the out of the front office and say I'm about to play competitive basketball in the NBA, man, that takes some balls, man. Like I don't know if I could do that, but he does it at 38 and he's doing it on one leg, and he wasn't able to finish the season the way he wanted to. But I challenge you to go and look up his scoring record that season. He came out fresh out of retirement, 38 years old, on one leg, and a lot of his jump shots was short. He wasn't getting a lot of lift on his jump shots, and but you could see him getting better game by game, which is kind of what happened when he came out of retirement from baseball and he was wearing the number 45. The same thing happened. You know, you could see some nights he had lift on his jump shot, some nights he didn't. So he played probably at 55, 60% of himself, but when he came back the season after that, he was a lot better and a lot ready, right? Which is similar to what happened this time. Even though he averaged 23 and he had games where he had 51, 45, a lot of 30 pieces, a lot of 40 pieces, the man was going off at 38. He just was on a team that wasn't ready to compete, right? So to try to compare Lakers getting to the playoffs and Wizards not getting the playoffs, and you use that to say that LeBron was a better player than Mike at this age, I disagree. I think if when you watch and you observe Mike and how he played and how he orchestrated things and how strategic he was and surgical he was, I think it's very easy to say that Mike was a better player than him. And then at 39, he played all 82 games, and I'm looking at LeBron at 39 now. He's not going to play all 82 games, right? You know, so if you just look at his Laker tenure, 55 games at age 34, 67 at 35, 45 games at age 36, 56 games at age 37, 55 games at 38, 56 games at 39. He can't even get through a full season the way Mike did, right? So I think those things are worth pointing out when people are trying to have this conversation. But the last thing I leave you with is Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett having a discussion about what it was like playing against Mike when he was with the Wizards. It's a lot different than what you heard from Colin Cowherd and his co-host.
Mike was a motherfucker though, both times, because he was still talking that shit.
Yeah, still talking
that shit. He was still skilled. It was just health with him. Mm-hmm. And I had to guard that motherfucker. Motherfucker gave us 40. I got like 38 out of that shit too. Yeah. He was too dribbling. You know, I ain't played the three in a minute, but Flip like, nah, you the only one that can guard. I'm like, we got two guards on here. What the fuck we? Our two skate. No, you're gonna guard. Like, all right, cool. I ain't tripping. Let's get it. Right. Too slow, ho.
Damn.
Whatever, ho. Whatever, ho. Watch out, ho. They wasn't even in no triangle shit. He started making up the triangle as he was doing that. Set it right here. No, watch out. Whatever, ho. Man, yo, what? That motherfucker took that shit. He came out one time, shot that motherfucker so high, I jumped, and I was just like, oh, I can't even. Oh, man. But I thought it was great for the league when he came back, and I thought that he wanted to see where he aligned with some of these younger stars. And I thought it was just great overall for the
he was in his
overall.
40s, averaging 22, 23. That was crazy.
Playing 40,
meeting, 32 points.
Playing
versus
82,
me?
he played 82 games.
Mike gave me 32.
You hear me? I saw you block his shot one time.
What I had?
I think it was 14.
Damn, 14. Damn, he gave us 32.
Yeah, Mike.
No, I had to go back at Mike.
14.
Damn.
Burn.
What happened? I was hurt.
You won by 9.
Oh yeah, we was blowing them out. I sat. They sat.
Who was the high scorer for the Boston Celtics that night?
Only played 15 minutes.
Cybertwan?
Cybertwan, 31.
Right. Cybertwan, yeah.
First one
probably talking shit. Old ass. What your old ass doing out here?
Yeah.
He supposed to be out here, old ass.
We gave Twan the mic that night.
Straight up. You already know.
That's how we used to do, though. That's how we used to do. He was his night. He had the mic.
I already know.
But we beat them. Okay, cool.
And then Ticket, your first game back against MJ in 2002, you had 31. You won the game, and Mike had a good game too. Mike had 40. Mike had 35 in that game.
Damn, he still was giving buckets.
He was talking crazy. Mike was.
Yeah. Mike was. I feel bad for people who got to listen to irresponsible people on ESPN and Fox and stuff like that, and they say things like this, man, and they be like, man, golly, it's people that actually were old enough and were grown-ups when this happened and who watched those games. Like, it's people who lived through that. It's a totally different experience to live through an era or live through something that happens in history versus relying on people to tell you what happened or relying on Google to go and because a lot of people not even go Google and say, let me go look at the game log. What was he doing game by game? You know what I mean? Nobody was going to go look at that, man. They even know how much better Mike was at his older age than what I think LeBron is. I think the only difference in what I tip my hat off at LeBron is as far as how much of his athletic ability he still had at this age versus Mike. Mike's athletic ability declined, where LeBron's athletic ability, he was able to maintain longer or preserve it better than Mike, right? So I give that edge to LeBron. We all agree on that. LeBron physicality, that's his claim to fame, right? That's what he lived off of. But Mike lived off how good he was as a basketball player, how skilled he was, and how he played the game, how he thought the game, how he played with passion on both ends of the floor. That's what Mike hang his hat at. And he was he started his career and finished his career as the best I've ever seen do that. So no, this is not the best player I've seen at this age, but this is the most physically preserved player I've seen at this age. And I think people get that mixed up.